Hello everyone, Israel Coronado here, candidate for mayor of the city of Mercedes. I wanted to spend a little bit of time uh, educating the public and making a call to action to the elected officials. Um, so I've been having a lot of conversations with different colleagues. We're all very concerned of the potential uh, pandemic that is coming. It's not a potential, it is a pandemic, but the effects of that pandemic here in the valley, and as we see the numbers grow every day. So I want to begin by asking the elected officials. Look, I get it. It's a difficult decision to make. The economic impact that this will have is significant. However, it it's it's extremely important that we no longer wait, that we act, that we take the steps to not only take into consideration the uh, they're calling them recommendations, but now we need to act, go beyond just, oh well, they're recommendations, so we don't have to enforce them. Obviously the public is not following the recommendations. Many people think just because they go home from midnight to 5 a.m. or from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. that's going to be fine. But then they go see their moms, they go have barbecues, they go have get-togethers at home. I've had many people ask me if it's okay to go to a party, it's just a family. Well, you don't know if that cousin went to Vegas, they went to New York, if they brought it in. And that's how community spread begins. At the moment, we have over 10 cases already in the valley, and we're not doing nearly enough testing to be able to say with confidence that it's not spreading in the valley. You don't know what you don't know. I was using the example of diabetes and high blood pressure. You'll never have high blood pressure or diabetes if you never check yourself, and that's a fact. Uh, and a lot of people talk about the impact and the danger, and some argue that, oh, this is just like the flu. If you are still using the flu argument, and I did see a video that was being circulated by the county, an elected county official saying that the flu was more dangerous. Look, the flu is not this. This is not the flu. This is very different. And that's why it's important to have qualified people at every level in the county and everywhere, all across the cities, to be able to make the right decisions and to get the right advice. Look, this is a novel virus. It's never been, no one has ever been exposed to this. And because of that, we don't have any defenses to it. And I've gone over a few things in other postings with this. But now, I wanted to cover two things. And people talk about PPE, the personal protective equipment. And yes, that is one of the major concerns of every healthcare provider. If we're going to have the right equipment to protect ourselves as we're trying to save lives. But there's a lot of other equipment that is very limited. And I want to show you two pieces of equipment that are going to be critical in saving people's lives. The first one is this blade. And this is the blade, it's the laryngoscope. And this blade is what is used to open up your mouth and go into your airway to be able to see your vocal cords and your windpipe. And that's how we put a little tube. Now, we call it a little tube, but sometimes it's not that little. And that's your endotracheal tube. And that has to go into your trachea in order to be able to ventilate your lungs. Now, these two pieces of equipment is also limited. And there's going to come a point that as we get more and more patients, we're going to run out. We're going to be overwhelmed. And supplies, if we look at this situation at a bigger scale, we're working ourselves into a corner where bigger cities are also going to be going through trouble, and they will also be needing help. So it is important that right now that we are showing low numbers to act, because the more proactive we are at locking ourselves down, whatever language you want to use, lockdown, shelter in place, stay at home mandate, I don't care what you call it. I know that there's a sense of don't panic, but we have to understand that if the public is not taking the necessary precautions to prevent the spread within our community, then the county officials, the city officials have a responsibility to keep the public safe by utilizing legal means, and there are legal tools they can apply, especially now that the governor basically left it up to you to make that call. And I know that's a difficult call to make. It's not a popular one. If I was in your shoes, I would have a hard time deciding as well, but I would not have taken this long. You have to ask those who know and understand these situations and get the proper advice to make the right decision. And please listen to your healthcare providers that are calling for you to now act and go beyond this just curfew that is very loosely enforced. I think that now we have to act to a more aggressive approach in making a more mandatory lockdown where only essential people who need to go to certain jobs to keep the necessary structures going to be able to save lives and keep people safe. I think that that's what we need to get to, and we need to get to fast right now that we have low numbers in order to prevent and be proactive. I know that there will be criticism. You can never please everyone. There will be those who say we only have 10 cases. Outside of the ignorant factor on that regard, we need to ignore that, and we need to move in the logical sense here. And before it triples, before it quadruples, we need to act and say, you know what? Yes, there's only 10 cases, and we want to keep it that way. And we're going to be proactive because we know this is coming. We know it is here. And I am asking those elected officials at every level. Every mayor in the city has a legal mechanism because many of these cities are home rules. And you can go and do a special emergency meeting, and you can go and go beyond just a curfew and say we're going to do a mandatory lockdown. And in the process, start calling committees. Okay, one of the things about campaigning is that you learn how to organize people. And this is the time to show your leadership. This is the time to come together. We have a lot of candidates running. Well, this is the time to come together and say, you know what, how are we going to help our communities? And talking to the businesses, to the people that are providing food and supplies, and organizing an effort to better and safely distribute these items instead of having a multitude of people standing outside in a group in a very close proximity. We need to be more proactive. We need to do more, and we need to do more now. Like I said, you have equipment that is also going to be limited outside of masks. A lot of people are talking about masks, and yes, they're going to be running short. A lot of people are talking about gloves, and yes, they will be running short. But we also have other equipment that is also going to be running short, and this is going to save people's lives. And once we run out of this, what are we going to do? So please, 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 if you have a contact at the county, at the city, start making those phone calls right now so that people can start mobilizing and acting, and this will take a whole community effort. We can do a lot through social media. We can do a lot through the phone. We can do a lot through different applications. I've been getting calls from different people who want to help. For the leaders that need to meet, there are softwares that is being made available to you so that you can utilize it and continue running government, because it is important. For the businesses, I know that small businesses are suffering, and if we implement a mandatory lockdown, they will suffer even further. But there are ways that we can help each other out and organize and come together so that we can minimize this impact. But we do need to act, and we need to act now. And I am asking all the elected officials, including judges, including state representatives, this is the time to be present. This is the time not to hide and to run into this mode of, oh, we're communicating or we're dealing with it. People want to know. People want to be informed. We need a face. We need a leader. We need someone to be in front and be able to explain and this, not just explain, but take that difficult decision and own it. And yes, the buck has to stop somewhere. It has to. And for those who have the authority to do it, there is a huge responsibility on your part to be able to do this. And this is the time. This is the time. Right now we have 11 cases confirmed in the Rio Grande Valley. Let's keep it that way. Although I'm afraid we may have more, we need to minimize the exposure as much now We cannot wait. We must not wait. At the end of the day, so those that are going to be in the front lines of this, we're very concerned. And yes, there is this factor that, yeah, the healthy tend to do very well. But remember, we have loved ones that are not as healthy. We have loved ones that are elderly. And there's been some theories being tossed around that, sacrifice the elderly. Where have we come to? Where's our humanity? We can do better. We should do better. And that's my message for today. If you can, please contact your elected officials and tell them to do more, and to do more now. Thank you. Have a blessed day.